Okay, this is take two. Um, didn't realize I had my badge on and my ID, so you have to stay a little HIPAA compliant. That's not HIPAA really, but that's just more privacy for, the facility. I'm sure you guys see the name of my facility sometimes, but no need to be flaunting other stuff. And also, my car's out of sorts. My daughter was driving my car, so I'm still adjusting to getting everything back my way, mirrors and the setup. The phone was like dangling. So anyway, the previous video, I was kind of rambling a bit, like I'm rambling now, but it ended up settling on nursing students. My first day back in the unit was the other day, and it was a humbling experience, very humbling. I had a full load on my other sister unit where I finished training, but I finished the first stage of training, let's say that, first stage of residency. Now on my switching units and getting trained on my home unit. And I'd been working there as a tech, so I was pretty confident, pretty comfortable, but the first day was very humbling. I was like, oh my gosh. It's a different focus, it's a totally different field. So, I knew I had to adjust to that, but I just didn't know how much. I actually had 7 patients assigned to me and my preceptor. And even though I know her, she didn't know like how far along I was. She thought I was like day 1. And then after like a couple hours, she realized, oh, you're settled in it. She's like, oh, okay. You've been a couple months. You know how to do all this stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm just, different focus. So she's like, okay. So I ended up taking like half the patients really, because it was a hellish day. We had mechanical breakdowns, software glitches, and it was like a couple hours into it, she realized, she's like, oh my God, this is weird. Why is the system treating you like this? And this unit has always been snake bit. I don't know why, the equipment and the software. And I thought that was just norm. Nope. When I had gone to my sister unit, everything was sparkling clean. Everything was nice. Software worked well. I don't know what it is on this floor. It's like the ghost of dementia just inhabits everything. So, it was quite an experience my first day back. But the saving grace was I had nursing students. And a lot of nurses I know don't like nursing students. I experienced that in clinical. Not all nurses. Luckily, most of my experiences were fine with nurses. But I have seen them just like avoid them, like just literally avoid them and just, whatever. And I had like a couple experiences of that. More in ICU, but yeah, and I can understand there's just such a small margin of error there. But for our unit and most of the med-surg units, been very welcoming, very helpful. A couple exceptions here and there. I like having nursing students. I liked having them. They were very helpful. It was like having 2 or 3 techs, plus another nurse, their instructor. So and not a slouch nurse, but an instructor nurse. She's not just a preceptee. She's probably, and I know of her. She's been a nurse for 25 years. For God's sake, she's forgotten more than I know. Or she's forgotten probably more than I will know in a couple years. So I wasn't worried about how they are. And they were from my old school. So they're, alumni, me being an alumni, I was like, hey, and then they're like, oh, they were more comfortable with me after that too. But it was very helpful. They basically took 1 or 2 patients. So even though I had 7, it felt more like 5 or 6. And then I only took half of that. So it wasn't a onerous day in the sense of patient load. If anything, I don't want to say easy, but it wasn't bad. But it wasn't good because of the extraneous stuff, the malfunctions, the glitches, and just adjusting the first day back. I knew that. I just didn't account for how much of an adjustment it was. So that's, I think, a couple things. Is just maybe this I'll title under everyday life as a nurse, but it's kind of nursing tips, nursing school tips and all that. But it's everyday life, I guess. This is a nurse just telling you, remember your roots, help the nursing students, Be thankful for them. They can be very helpful. And understand that you're going to have hard days. That was a really hard day. Even my preceptor was like, what the hell happened? She was just like, and I thought it was me, and I was like, I'm really sorry. She's like, no, it was all the other stuff. It's nice to know, actually, that you know what you're doing, and I can leave you alone and not worry that you're going to do something bad, so that you know enough to ask. And I say, yeah, no, I'll ask you, definitely. I know enough that I shouldn't do certain stuff. I was still corrected a couple times, and that was good. So I learned, it's always a learning experience. Never think you know enough, and be humble of your background, and remember the nursing student days, and be respectful from the other way around as nursing students, that you're guests. My professors always told us that you're guests at this facility. Act like a guest. Be respectful. Say thank you. And I did that. And as a host now, I did the same thing back. I said thank you for being our guest, and it was very appreciative. They were very helpful. So it's a reciprocity in that sense. Okay, day in the life of the nurse. Although I picked probably one of the worst days. Hopefully today's better. Okay.